All right, we're going to continue our driver availability with our NASCAR Camping World Truck Series driver panel. We are joined now by Grant Enfinger, driver of the number 98 Champion Power Equipment Curb Records Ford, Noah Gragson, the number 18 Safelite Autoglass Toyota, and Myatt Snider, number 13 Century Contained Ford. Gentlemen, currently the 5 drivers have locked their spots in the playoffs. Johnny Sauter, Brett Moffitt, Noah, Justin Haley, and Ben Rhodes. That leaves 3 positions still in play for drivers not yet currently locked in. Grant, you currently sit 3rd in the standings without a win. Are you comfortable where you are right now, or do you feel that this is a must-win weekend for the number 98?
No, I'm definitely not comfortable with our situation. I wish we'd be locked in or like Noah is here to kind of breeze through these next 2 weeks and focus on the playoffs. But we can't really do that. But we're not in a bad spot either. So at the end of the day, we really just need to kind of keep doing what we've been doing to get us to this point for the next 2 weeks, and I think we'll be all right. But really, it's kind of business as usual for us.
No, and like Grant said, you are locked in. What is your mindset heading into this weekend's race and then the races leading into the playoffs? Are you looking for the win, or are you just kind of building momentum heading into the playoffs?
Yeah, I feel like this weekend is a great opportunity to win. I know I've been working hard this past week to get back in my Safelite Autoglass Toyota Tundra, and I've done a lot of preparation going in. Talked to Kyle quite a bit. He runs here good in a truck. I just got to be more aggressive. So I feel like I have a good shot, a good opportunity this weekend to compete for the win, and it's all going to boil down to being in the right position there at the end of the race. So I feel like there's not a ton of pressure. Going into this weekend, it's more of a weekend like Super Speedway racing, or how Super Speedway racing used to be. We're not really going to do this kind of racing when we get to the playoff races. So it's more of a not a fun race, but not a fun weekend, but one of those weekends where we can kind of use it as a trial to clean some stuff up before we get in the playoffs and just have some fun and try and get the trophy.
Myatt, you're hovering right around that cutoff line. Do you feel that this is the Corrigan Oil 200 a must-win for you?
Yeah, these next couple races we put some emphasis on just to go out and get a win. But luckily, really just about anything can happen in these next couple races. It's Michigan for trucks, which is always a drafting race, so it's a good equalizer. And then you go to Bristol, which is a rough and tumble short track race. So we're going to be having a lot of fun with these next couple races. But no, my team always brings me a good Century Container Ford F-150, so I'm really excited to be going and running these next couple races, and we'll have some fun with it.
Good deal. We'll open up the floor to questions. We'll start in the back with Brian.
I got one for Grant and one for Myatt. So we got heading into Bristol. Grant, are you playing defense, knowing your position in the points, or offense? Trying to lock it up with a win. How's that?
Really neither, I'd say. We're not really playing defense. Our mindset is kind of been to this entire year. It's been to go after wins. It's not like we haven't been trying to win all season, but we do have to focus some on stage points. So there are situations like a couple weeks ago at Pocono where it maybe hurt our chances to win the race, but we stayed out and got stage points. We really didn't have a truck capable of winning at Pocono. I think we had a truck capable of finishing 3rd or 4th. We ended up taking the stage points and finishing 6th. So at the end of the day, Jeff Hensley does a great job with strategy, but we really can't make a determination of that until we get out there and see what we're working with. If we got a truck that we feel like can win this race tomorrow, then we're going to play that strategy to win the race. If we feel like a 5th place is going to be good for us, then we're going to play the stage points and get all we can get and come home as good as we can. So I feel like I'm definitely in a good situation as far as that. Jeff Hensley has made good decisions all year with that, and I think that's kind of why we're in the situation we are.
Myatt, you called Bristol kind of a rough and tumble short track. So heading in there as the first guy out, how unsettling is that for you, knowing that it's a real hornet's nest all the way around, and you're trying to protect?
Well, I guess I'm a bit lucky in the fact that I've always at least had good runs at Bristol. I went there and won the 2017 U.S. Short Track Nationals and then finished third this year. So at least in a late model stock. So going there in a truck is a little bit heavier. You may have to use a little bumper a little bit to move people out of the way. So at least that I know that it's not as aero dependent. It's more in the hands of the driver. You'll be able to have a lot of fun with that and really kind of set your own destiny if you want to.
We'll come over here to Matt Weaver, and then we'll come right here in front.
Matt Weaver with Auto Week. 2 questions, one for all of you and then one just for Grant. When you look at the first round of the playoffs, assuming that all three of you guys are in, you've got Mosport in there, you've got Talladega, Vegas. Those are kind of wild card races. Do you expect the intensity of those 3 races to be, pardon the cliche, but off the charts?
I think we've seen, in my eyes, kind of unfortunately, the last, 4 or 5 years, whether it's playoff race or not, Canada, it gets rough there. There's so many breaking points where, you just forget to hit the brake pedal and run over the guy in front of you. I think honestly, Canada's probably even more of a crapshoot than Talladega. So they're both going to be big variables where other people's, decisions affect your day more than your decisions do. So that's definitely a big crapshoot. I think both of those, but Vegas is a mile and a half. I don't think it's a crapshoot at all.
I agree with what Grant said about Canada. I feel like some drivers might be nervous going into there just because it's our only road course we get to race a year. So I feel comfortable on the road course. I finished second there last year. So I like that track. I'm pretty confident going to that track. But Talladega, that's the one I feel like probably is the biggest crapshoot just because anything can happen. I was fortunate enough to be able to run last year in the race, and it seemed like it was pretty clean. Some guys got a little aggressive, but it wasn't too bad. And then it always seems like Daytona is a lot. I feel like if we went to Daytona here in the playoffs, there'd be a lot of wrecks, but just Talladega is so wide. You don't see as many wrecks, and I was able to participate in the Xfinity race this year at Talladega. So just fortunate to be able to get some more experience and under my belt. But yeah, I feel confident for that first round. Talladega is probably going to be the biggest crapshoot, but you never know until you're in the moment.
Yeah, it's called the round of 8, but it might as well be the wild card round. Yeah, like they said, with the restrictor plate race, the road course race, it's definitely going to be a lot of crazy racing, a lot of people getting wrecked, a lot of mishaps. So, I'm going in there pretty excited because I've always wanted to race at Mosport. I never have. But then you go to Vegas, and we had speed enough to win there earlier this year. So I got that one circled as a big opportunity. And then Talladega, I've always ran good on restrictor plate tracks. So we'll just have to see.
And for Grant, you're the one guy in the sport that's really known Chase Elliott or raced with Chase Elliott longer than pretty much everyone. I don't know how much you guys have interacted personally, but what do you think about his makeup as a driver and how it's evolved over the years for as long as you've known him?
I think for the most part, he's been just a really good, clean driver. I think other than Mosport, you know what I mean, that we were just talking about, I think he's pretty much got a reputation of being pretty clean. And overall, he's just a good, hard, short track racer. It's good to see guys you race with, kind of make it to the top there. So I think everybody kind of knew a win was coming, and it finally did. So it's a good situation for him to be in. And like I said, coming from that group of racers, we're proud to see guys like Chase and guys like Bubba Pollard, putting it on them on a weekly basis. So it makes you glad.
We'll come right down here in front, and then we'll go to Chris Knight, Claire, and finish it up with Lee Spencer.
George Poley, the Macomb Daily for Grant. September 1st is getting close. Jalen Hurts or Tua, break down the Alabama quarterback.
Man, I don't want to tear Jalen down, but man, I'm voting for Tua. So I don't know. Nick Saban says he hadn't made a decision. He's gonna let the quarterbacks decide who the team rallies behind. So don't think I haven't been paying attention though.
All right, we'll go to Chris Knight, then Claire, and then wrap up with Lee.
ChrisKnightCatchFans.com. Noah, talking about you and your team, after what happened at Pocono, you're back in the saddle, but where is your number 18 team as far as a championship contender? Do you guys feel like that you guys can go into Homestead today, if Homestead was tomorrow, that you guys could go and win the championship, or do you guys feel like you still have a little work to do?
I feel like we can always get better as a team, first of all, but I have the most confidence in my team, and I feel like we're the best team in the garage. Have the best Toyota Tundras when we get to the racetrack, and just having that confidence is the most important thing for me. So I feel like, yes, if we went to Homestead, we would be definitely a contender. I have a great group surrounding me at Cowbush Motorsports, so I'm just really fortunate to be racing here in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, and just trying to do the best I can do when I get on the racetrack and learn the most I can. So this weekend, it'll be a fun weekend. We go to Bristol, and then once we get into the playoffs, that's where it really starts, and we need to start capitalizing on opportunities and to get to Homestead, and then it's kind of gloves off when we get there. I feel like at all the track, I'm probably Talladega. I feel like I need to be a lot more aggressive there. I've always been sort of the driver to not make the boldest moves there, simply because I want to be there at the end and have an opportunity to be racing at the end, and so I really wish last year not put a more of an effort into my speedway racing, but been more aggressive and made bolder moves. And if that means I made a mistake, and wrecked. But yeah, last year I wish I would have tried more stuff, because it's really important this year being in the playoffs. I wasn't in the playoffs last year, so being in the playoffs this year, I feel like Talladega is going to be kind of my weakest track. But we should have a lot of speed there. We've been working really hard at Cowbush Motorsports to get more speed in our Tundras, and just having confidence in my team going to all these places is very important.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. I was kind of in queue for the question that you said earlier, and Chris kind of asked a question that you answered it, but aggressiveness earlier on, you said I need to be more aggressive, and that's what I wanted to ask you about. You're talking just about Talladega, or do you feel like in other areas you're not snatching it up when you could?
I feel like this weekend is going to help me quite a bit, but I've kind of noticed a trend where we'll be really fast in practice, really fast for the first, second stage of the race, and then if we get shuffled back 6th, 7th on a pit stop or what happens, we get in traffic, I need to do a better job of getting my way through traffic and making bolder moves. I sat down with my crew chief, Rudy Fugel, this week, and I was like, hey, let's prepare for Michigan. And I was expecting to go in there and we were going to talk solely about Michigan, but he told me to do what I did at other racetracks where I was making passes, I was making bold moves, and we kind of looked at my restarts and what I did well with, what I did better. And so just trying to be more aggressive and have good judgment at the same time, not wrecking people, but it's a fine line when you're out there. I lay in bed every night thinking about the upcoming race or a race I did in the past and what I could have done better, and I'm just always thinking about that, and it's easier said than done. You think about it and you're like, man, I could just weave my way up through there, but once you get in the moment, it's harder. So just trying to get that experience, trying to learn as much as I can, and ultimately it's going to come down to Homestead, and hopefully it can have all that experience pay off.
I would wrap up with Lee Spencer.
LeeSpencerRacingBoys.com. No, you mentioned earlier about getting experience in the Xfinity Series. Is it your goal right now to move up full-time in the Xfinity Series for 2019?
I think it's one of my goals. I don't know if I'm pinpointing 2019, or I really don't know where we are along with that right now. But my priority right now is to focus on the playoffs and doing the best job I can do from here until Homestead, just try and focus on the moment. I can focus on what's going to happen next year, years down the road, but it's not going to do me any good. I need to perform right now and win races and do the best job I can do. And I'm very fortunate to have a good group around me with Kyle Busch Motorsports and Toyota Racing. To do that, I got a lot of great people. So just trying to focus right now on the moment, and then hopefully I can win some races, and the rest will take care for itself.
Well, all right, gentlemen, thank you for your time today. Good luck in tomorrow's Corrigan Oil 200 and the rest of the way.